Commander Cockings and Captain Foley here again for another mission briefing. And as we all know by now, this is the relaxed discussion show taking a look at a ship from the Star Trek universe, discuss, theorise, and get audience feedback to, help us with the rather more full episode let down the line.
This week, well, we're in celebration mode here, so to speak, as this is our 50th episode. Yay! So to celebrate this, we wanted to bring you a special series of releases going into all the different incarnations of the Constitution class. Even wear my special shirt for it. Ooh.
Nice.
And there are quite a few, but first I want to say on behalf of myself and Commander Cockings, thank you very much for helping us get to this point. 50 episodes and going strong. We love all of you, and we hope you keep tuning in every week for the 50 and beyond. And it's cool that our 50th, we're celebrating our 50th because it's 50th of Star Trek next year, so yeah.
Thanks, guys. And indeed, this episode we're going to talk about the Constitution class as seen in the Cage pilot and the second pilot where No Man Has Gone Before. This is the first ever Connie that was seen and the one that got it all started. So without further ado, let's dive right in.
So the first picture, of course, we have the beautiful Cage version with the spikes on in the cells and the... Oh, we'll talk about the differences later.
But this is a
beautiful
nice
ship.
Yeah, this is a nice shot. And it does feel different. I know it's probably just because we all know it's different, but the points and the different saucer, it does feel a bit different. I don't know. So the next picture does show the differences between the two. Obviously, on the right, you've got the Cage version. On the left, and obviously, we've got lots of different pictures to show lots of different things. But my head, anyway, my brain, my whatever, first goes to the deflector dish. That is a beast of a deflector dish on the Cage version.
Yeah, it's huge, and it also, if you look closely on this picture and one of the actual screenshots later, it looks like it has a wood texture to this deflector dish, which I just noticed when I was compiling the pictures for this episode, actually, so very interesting. All right, so we'll move on to the next picture. It's a great shot. It shows the differences between the Connie and the Cage version. See the bigger deflector dish a little bit better in this picture.
I think what I take away from this is that it's sort of subtle, but the striking red of the Bassards and then the deflector gives it a far more aggressive, well, not far more, but a definite aggression that the other Connie doesn't. It just feels a lighter, more casual tone. I don't know.
It's an interesting point, which I'm going to bring up later.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. I mean, the red of the lines going along. It's just there's a lot of red suddenly. It's all red and white, and it changes the feel of it, I think.
It does actually. I never really thought about that. But good point.
Thank you. Yeah, so the next one is orthos of the first pilot version, and I'm not sure what you want to say about this. My eyes first go to the how big those spikes are of the nacelles. They really are kind of,
It's funny. I always think Captain Pike, head on a pike. So those pikes are there to put the heads of your enemies on. He's very Klingon, but Captain Pike, I guess.
Is there a reason for those spikes? Is there any canon reason why?
Probably.
Okay.
I honestly I don't know it offhand, but I'm sure there is. And
there must be, mustn't there?
Discover that, and it'll be in our full episode for sure. Also, it's worth noting the back of the warp engines have that kind of rectangular shape to them,
like a switch, light switch.
I guess, yeah. Interesting. And also, one of the major differences is the size of the deflector and the size of the bridge module. It's much bigger on the ship.
Cool. Yeah.
So that leads to our next picture, which is the second pilot variation.
Ah, okay.
So this is the one we see in where No Man Has Gone Before.
Now, shall I do some movie magic and have them side by side?
Beautiful. And one of the things that I noticed right away, of course, the hull markings on the saucer.
Yep.
As well as on the left side of AB deck, which is underneath the bridge there, there's less windows on this version. There's only 2 on that side.
There is.
As well as the cell caps have changed again to be the holes, and we got more impulse engines, smaller ones.
Which is interesting because the first pilot looks like the standard one, just about, and this one changes it into this odd formation. There's actually more changes than you think. They added different color, they added more bits of color, they added a bit more detail. I don't know. Although the deflector's the same size according to this.
Well, yeah, the deflector is the same. If you click between the two, you can see a bunch of the differences. The Cage doesn't have any running lights, but we'll get into that.
Yes, the next one is, it looks like a shot from a magazine, a really old magazine, showing the different versions. For the original series, from the first part, from the second pilot.
Actually, what it is, I gotta say, is from the model kits. You get the model kits that have the parts to build all three,
Right.
and this is kind of what they have on the back. Shows you which ones you can build.
Wow, that really shows how much bigger the bridge module is. That, wow, that, I know obviously...
It's interesting, eh?
Does that mean the bridge is bigger? Because it just feels chunkier. There doesn't seem much reason for it.
It doesn't... It's not bigger physically inside, as far as I can tell. I think that might just be older technology, maybe more protection for the bridge, and they scale it down later for the production version.
That's what it is, I'm sure. Yeah. And obviously you can see straight away the deflector dish on the bottom too. It's very prominent, same angle roughly. Can't even see it on the other one. So I don't know if I like the black strips on either side or not. It's interesting.
Of the saucer section?
Yeah, for the second pilot. I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
But let's move to the next picture.
Yep.
And this is a great shot looking towards the turbo lift. I actually really like this bridge.
Really?
And there's one or two more bridge pictures coming up where I can kind of tell you why. But I just got to say, I really love this bridge. It's got a more muted color palette, the blacks and the grays, and more monitors with more stuff going on.
That was a funny thing about the pilot. They tried to put a lot more energy into it in terms of the monitors. I think what's interesting is that you could argue that the movie refit, the classic motion picture bridge, I guess it takes some cues from this in a sense because of the muted colours.
Yeah, it does indeed.
It double refits to an older version style. I don't know. They changed colour palettes. The designer got fired and rehired for the refit.
Well, plus new color TVs were new, so they wanted to show off all the bright colors. So that's why they went to a more primary color palette.
It's interesting. It makes it feel sleeker.
It does. It makes it feel more advanced to me.
Well,
except for little Martian displays.
Although I've got to say the fact that it's now a solid grey. If you look at the panels behind them, the buttons, there feels like a lack of buttons. Like that is they're wasting a lot of space.
Well, they do in the production one too, right?
Yeah, I think it's just more noticeable here because the colours are more contrasty. But wouldn't it be cool to see a refit version of the Connie with like L cars that actually stretch the entire length of the bridge? Actually, everything is usable. That'd be kind of fun to see.
JJ.
Apart from that, so the next one is the captain's cabin. I think it is very muted, very box simple. What's that?
It reflects the time with that decor, I think.
Does it? What's the strange wooden triangle style shape, do you think?
Just a table of some sort.
A table. Okay.
Maybe a bar. Maybe there's a bar behind that. It just looks like a bar from that era.
I
mean, seriously.
I mean, every captain needs to get drunk on Synthé. I don't know.
I'm sorry, and Brandy here, sir.
Oh dear. Yeah, simple.
All right, so the next picture is just another shot of the bridge.
Yep.
It actually, when looking at this picture, to be honest, it looks smaller than the production bridge.
It really does. I don't know why though.
I don't either.
It's probably just the drawing, to be fair.
Well, maybe, but there you can see some more of the displays. The upper displays are like something I really like, and there's another picture coming up where I kind of talk more about that.
This one's different than the 3D model, because in this one, if you look at the control panels, the buttons stretch across the entire paneling, whereas in the 3D model, there's a lot of space between them. So I think the scaling's different between these two models. This is obviously a drawing, but I like it. Again, it just is sleeker. It's simpler. So the next one is a close-up, but this time it's from a 3D model, a drawn model. This is now a practical, physical model, I suppose.
Yeah. And this really highlights what I like about this bridge. I've always thought that TOS was lacking, because of the era I grew up in, I think, lacking a lot of visual display graphics. Like you see the tactical on viewer in the movies and stuff, things like that. I love that kind of computer techie feel. That's why I have this in the background.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy. So to see this with the different monitors like that and like the planetary system, I think they needed to retain that instead of just having like swaths of color like across the thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you say about the 60s design is that these control panels, these officers of Starfleet are getting very complicated information from blinking lights. They're either on or off. So they really could have done with more displays, or they're just geniuses. I mean, it just...
Well, there's a story behind that. Each one of those buttons is numbered, And the blinking displays are numbered as well. They usually have numbers with them. The thing is, every time each blinking succession meant something. It's kind of like Morse code almost, and those codes were changed frequently to avoid any enemy intelligence getting a hold of that.
But we saw in Enterprise they have so many displays though. Such a step backwards.
Don't start with Enterprise. But anyway, yeah, that's the thing, that it was rotated on a constant basis, so they had to keep educating themselves as to new protocols meant different things.
I also love the chairs.
Yes, but yeah, real quickly, that's why nothing's really clearly displayed as to what it is, so that if an enemy takes over your ship, they really don't know how to control it. All right, so the next picture, we got a shot of it from behind, and this, you see the rectangle part on the end cap there of the warp engine.
I don't know how I feel about the back part, because it's not an engine for thrust, so it doesn't need to have exhaust ports or anything. I like the bulb, the circle at the end. I just don't know. It just feels so much like a light switch. I don't know. They should have had more detail. Obviously, it's a Model 60s, all that jazz, but I think they had more detail.
I can just see Scotty out there in a spacesuit sliding that one bar all the way up to the top. Hey, we're at full warp now, sir.
Yeah.
So next picture, we got a shot of it from underneath, and this really shows you the size of the deflector. It's bigger than it's actually bigger than the secondary hull diameter. So it kind of protects the secondary hull, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it really alters the feel of the ship, because I mean, yeah, it loses the sleekness, and it's not like it's trying to be a much more advanced deflector. It's just bigger, Yeah,
and I do. I'm not a huge fan of the Bizarre collectors that don't glow.
I do notice there's a new position for running lights. Well, this is a 3D render. Someone's created this, but there's on both the bottom edges of the saucer, far lower than the normal position. There's two white ones with basically 3 lights, one in the middle with 2 on each side.
So yeah, those lights are actually on the production model, and on the Polar Lights kit, they're actually placed wrong. You have to, if you want them correct, you have to drill them back a little bit further and fill those in. But they are there. They're just not very bright, and they don't flash or anything. So,
what is the? You're obviously a big modeler. What's the sort of ratio to people who want to get a cage version as opposed to the normal version? Is there
quite high actually? You'd be surprised. It's a lot easier to build if you're lighting it, and I don't know why anybody would want to choose it. I personally wouldn't, because the bridge is too big and ugly as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, it gives you more space for you to put a little miniature bridge in.
So the next picture is a close-up of one of the panels with the little fax machine, paper spaghetti machine.
It is, isn't it?
It's so futuristic for the time.
Oh my god, yeah. And you can see the paint in the red section above the scanner. You can literally see the paint.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And the damaged hand. I guess they didn't have dermal regenerators yet.
So next we have a shot from the original run show screen cap, I guess, of it.
And there, like I said, looks like a fruit bowl in the front. It's wood. I swear to God, that's wood. That
is pretty, yeah. And the Bassard,
I never noticed it till I was getting pictures for this episode.
And the Bassards again, they have a certain, they're obviously, one solid piece, but because I say the light glints off it, that also looks like wood or some sort of glassy marble. It's just
looks cheap.
Looks like not a spaceship.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, so the next one is just a side shot of it, and where you see the spikes, the larger deflector, and the bridge.
Well, the deflector looks a little bit smaller than that one. Because previously we said it was the same size as the secondary hull. This one doesn't.
True. Yeah.
But
this is bigger than the production one.
Yeah, for sure. And the Bassards might glow in this version. So I mean, there's also different versions. And again, that bridge, it just feels so out of proportion. Yep. So the next one is. Oh, it's the film model had a window, but we don't like the JJ version with a window, and this has a window. Oh.
This is not a window. I know
it's a window. It looks like a window.
It does look like a window. It's more like a sensor palette thing that they. Anyway, this is the filming model, but yes, it's not a directly window. It's not supposed to be a window. It was never that. Matt Jeffries never intended that. That's not what it is. It's like the forward sensor that scans out.
Basically, it's the other side of the view screen.
Yes, and I think JJ and all his infinite research for his movie just looked at this picture and went, "All right, do that." Surprised we don't have spikes on this version.
That would be interesting. It just doesn't look good with this thing sticking out, or well, recessed, I guess. But it just doesn't. doesn't need that detail, you know.
I'm glad they got rid of it right away.
Yeah.
So the next picture, this is of course the actual filming model for the cage. Brand new, out of the box, new Starship smell. I think
it's a big model. I like how big that is, and it's just so Star Trek.
And so 60s. Look at the cars.
Yeah. But the bridge module sticks out even more there when you see it in physical dimensions. Because they're obviously saying that's the scale of the room. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, and that throws everything internally off on that ship if they're doing that.
And those spikes look almost deadly there. I mean, that's if someone take that spike off and just go, that nacelle is a pretty dangerous weapon.
Captain Christopher Spike.
So the next picture is a close-up of the remastered, I believe, the remastered version of with the busy the busy impulse engines.
Yeah, it's interesting that they had the four.
Yeah, four on each side.
Four squares and then a little circle in the middle. Yeah.
I wonder why. Maybe they were thinking thrust.
Possibly. It's interesting. It's gonna be a good chapter to research when we do the full episode on these. I know so much about the Connies, but I just don't know the reason for that. It's kind of always.
And it's interesting. You can now see the other side of the deflector dish. It's a very strange color. Like it's not the same copper. It's a different. It's very washed out. I don't know. Yeah.
Right, so let's go to the next picture. This is the production version on the right.
Yes.
And the second pilot version on the left, with Where No Man Has Gone Before, where we see the differences in the end caps. I'm not a big fan of just holes in there. It doesn't really work for me.
No, and if you look at them, the two on either side, they almost reach the end of the nacelle. Like if that's meant to be some sort of thrust with tubes, there's like almost nothing in between that and space. It's silly, but it shows how similar they kept the original design. I mean, I'm sure the producers wanted to try and push it into another direction, possibly, but it stayed pretty much true. So the next picture is a great little comparison of the top of the, as you say, first pilot standard and the Phase 2 Enterprise. And again, you've just got the points and the top black areas. Yeah. And
this says that the Enterprise was launched with much fanfare in 2245 under the command of Captain Robert April after the conclusion of his 5-year mission, and then taken by Christopher Pike in 2282.
But again, it shows how little it changed when you think about it.
Is that 2282? Did I read that correctly? That's 40 years.
62.
62, okay. Yeah. That makes it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a big refit, which turned into production version, so very interesting. So next picture is from Mirror Mirror, and of course they're still using the older Connie, which is a very interesting something I always noticed and really stuck with me.
Yeah,
it's like they didn't take the time to progress it to the next stage.
Well, they were too busy conquering, pillaging, and destroying. It takes time.
And like you said, thinking that the more red and darker colors look more aggressive.
Yes, and the points.
And they probably put the heads of their enemies on those pipes.
Or starship hulls, yeah. Shuttles, lots of destroyed shuttles. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting detail. Was that in the original 60s version as well, or was that just a flipped version?
It was indeed.
Okay. So they said let's use original clips of the original version to make it feel a bit different then.
I think so.
Okay.
Now that I've said that, I'm wondering if it actually was, but I was fairly certain that it was the same. Well, as captain, if my memory serves me right, which it usually does, they did use the cage version. So
I think so too.
Take that, internet.
So the next one is interesting. This is the monitors, the mini monitors that are so dated. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And they're referred to as the Mars viewers, which makes sense because it's like War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Style.
Oh yeah.
From the movie. Yeah, exactly.
That's true. But I do remember they actually put effort into what was actually in the screens.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes sense to have personal viewers for each console. I mean, it's not exactly a bad idea. I think the design, if anything, it should have been a more circular or that sort of curved shape is the Enterprise D. That's that sort of.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Andrew would approve, so it's not really very TOS. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, this really makes it dated, though it really screams 60s.
Mm,
Like it looks like every 60s lamp ever made.
yeah.
So I've never been a fan of these,
Yeah.
and I see them on. I have one of my Artist Island captain's chairs that has it on, and it broke off because it's in such an irritating place, and I glued it back on. I just wish I didn't have to, and it doesn't sit right now, and it is. So
Anyway.
good job getting rid of those.
Anyway.
Next picture,
Mm,
we got the lineup from the cage to production to refit.
nice.
So it's a simple shot, but there you can really see the bridge difference.
It's interesting. I mean, what again carries my eye is that the running lights are on the black parts of the cage version. Do you think it's more dynamic and you can see it better to have the running lights in the red and green on the black or on the hull?
In the black for sure.
Really? Because I kind of like them on the hull in a sense because then you see the green around you see the green glow, whereas in the other version you just see black with the green and then green glow around it. I don't know. I think you get a better sense of it from the standard.
Yeah, but I think for visibility purposes, especially military thinking,
Yeah.
to have the black there, that really stands out. That green, if you compare the two, just look at them. The green on the blacks is a lot more noticeable than the other one.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think was there actually a reason for the black section? Technical armor or?
Probably, I think it was more military marking
Okay.
mentality
Huh.
behind it, because both Gene Roddenberry and Matt Jeffries were in the military. So
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Carrying over from real experiences. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what it probably was. But
Okay.
it just didn't.
And obviously we all love the refit, so enough said on that.
That's another episode.
That is another episode. Okay, so the next one you see some interiors, and again those screens, those beautiful, beautiful personal screens. Although I do like that you get to see Spock on one of them. Again, it does make. Although, what's filming Spock?
Exactly. Well, I would assume sensors around the bridge, some kind of. I've always wondered that about the view screen and stuff too. It kind of follows the captain.
Although, wouldn't it be
So-
interesting if this was a two-way communication? So it was a a camera and a viewer, so you could have a two-way conversation.
That would make perfect sense, actually.
Then there's at least as a purpose for it because that is actually kind of useful, especially since in this era there are no comm badges. You either have to turn on the internal communications or use your communicator. So I guess in some way it makes sense.
Mhm.
Interesting.
All right, so let's go to the next picture, and this is Pike in his cabin with a green screen.
Yeah.
And look if you notice, the glass doesn't even flush up with the. So like, he's gonna die. There's no seal.
And it looks so cheap. I'm
Yes.
sorry, but when you
Looks like my grandparents' old basement. That shelf.
and then from that point of view, the lamp or the screen on his bedside table looks like a lamp.
Or a Martian.
Or am I don't even know what's going on. I mean, if you think of practicality about this room, it's just there's nothing there. Nothing's happening. At least in Kirk's quarters, it's much more compact. There's little rooms. You got desk chairs, and then obviously bigger budget and all that jazz. But it doesn't feel much of a purpose in this room. It's just sort of a space. Yeah, so it just doesn't feel very practical. Or anything going on at all, really.
I have something to say about the shape of the room. It looks like it's almost in the secondary hull, with the way that wall is curved.
Yeah, actually.
And I've never noticed that before, but interesting.
Cool. So the next shot is, I guess, from an episode again of the 60s. I suppose this is it orbiting Taos 5 because the bridge module's again supersized. No,
This is from Mirror Mirror, my friend,
is it?
because it's orbiting the opposite direction.
Ah, that makes more sense.
Yep. So yeah, as you can see, they did use the cage model. Now it looks funny because is it just me? Even watching these growing up, it looks like there's dust on the Bizarre collectors.
Yes, they've not cleaned them properly. Well,
That
space
takes away
dust.
the-
I mean,
No, you said that. Oh my God.
well,
Or
from
take that
from
back.
my point of view, I mean, the biggest thing I have, if you look at the one thing that always you can tell from green screen or blue screen or any sort of keying is if you look at the secondary hull where the deflector is, that should be black. It's blue. It's a bluey black, so you can see literally where they keyed it out. Which 60s absolutely, but I mean it doesn't help it fit in at all.
That's what we call blue spill, boys and girls. We've talked about it before. Learn it. All right, so the next photo is back on the bridge. We got the heroic Captain Pike standing there. And like I said, I do prefer this bridge. It is very muted.
Prefer?
Prefer it over the production version, yes.
Whoa. Hate comments incoming. Jesus.
I would want this to be my bridge. It's more my colors. It's black and gray, and I love the better monitors, bigger monitors, better displays. I just would rip every one of those freaking Mars things out of my bridge. You just see Captain Foley like, no! Sorry. I'm better now. And I love how there's always a guy standing by the turbo lift for security.
Yeah.
That goes back to the whole military thing.
Anyway, moving on. Ooh, look at that.
And this is our last shot of it in dry dock, ready to be changed into the production version. We're going to talk about tomorrow.
Ooh, and I noticed a couple of things, a couple of really cool things. There's a pre-work bee, top right.
Ooh, interesting.
And I've not seen that before. We probably should know about it, but we didn't. That's cool.
Asinars should have looked like that. Maybe it's not a work bee. Maybe it's
Oh, it looks like a work bee to me.
It does, but maybe it's something else. I don't know. Could be anything.
I like seeing the United Federation Planet banner just hanging out, just on display, like we need to remind you of Earth where you are.
That's cool, actually. Maybe that little ship is like some time traveling ship, just watching this moment in history, and you're not supposed to see it.
Oh, I love the spacesuits. They are so cool, even if they're weird. The 60s spacesuits. They're such a great little design.
And it's worth pointing out too that this shot is from the Ships of the Line calendar.
Yeah, but it's great, and I look forward to seeing what happens next on the adventure of the USS Enterprise 1701.
Indeed.
So, any final thoughts, Stuart?
Yes, I do. Overall, I'm not a big fan of the ship, but I prefer the bridge. It's basically what it boils down to.
Interior, not exterior.
Yeah, some interior. I'm not a fan of his quarters in the wood. Even the hardware, the phasers and communicators freak me out. So I'm just a big fan of the bridge.
Okay. The paint scheme really is what you mean, the monitors. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting first step. I would love to know what the points are. I think we haven't really discussed what they could be. I suppose they could be an assistant to the deflector dish, maybe. They could help to channel power through the warp engines and help slice your way through the warp bubble. I mean, I don't know. They could be anything. If you do know, please tell us. It seems such a strange design choice, but you can imagine after 40, 50 years, they would have at least worked out what they could be.
They could be the collectors for the hydrogen particles.
Like a tube.
Version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Never find it. So.
And it's a weird, interesting design. It's basically the Connie we love, but it's just a nice first step. And I think that is it for the Cage original Connie and where Nomad's gone before second pilot Connie. So as always, guys, if you do like the video, please like it. If you do want to subscribe, do subscribe. If you do want to share it, do share. And this has been episode 50 of Trek Yards.
It's a 50 party time, excellent.
And we thought for 50 we'd go all the way back to the very beginning. So from myself and Captain Foley, it's the wrong phaser.
Because I don't like their phaser.
From myself and Captain Foley, thank you very much for watching these last 50, and hopefully you'll stay with us for another 50. So until then, this has been Commander Cockings
and Captain Foley.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.